I know it's the next, but I did. Please don't get inside.
Good morning. Yeah, we're gonna start. So this is the March 19th meeting of the Bowen Island Official Community Steering Committee. And before we begin with the agenda, I'd just like to begin by acknowledging that we are gathered on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Squamish Nation. We are grateful for the opportunity to meet, learn, and plan on these waters and land. As we meet in what is the emerging spring out there, nice and wet for everyone, it reminds us that this is a time of renewal and growth. We recognize the long relationship between the Squamish people and this special place. We move forward with the Bowen Island Official Community Plan guided by respect, humility, and gratitude for the ongoing stewardship and connection to these lands. So onto our agenda, we have item 1 is the approval of the agenda for this evening. Do we have any late items that we need to add?
There are a few supporting documents that we will be adding along the way, mostly to do with engagement notes, timelines, but no new topics.
What's that? The project process update, that the one that Xerxes sent around yesterday.
No.
All the questions, sure.
No, the ones that Xerxes sent yesterday is item number 6.1. I have any document to buy as a late item.
There's a layout.
Yeah, we've got
It has
it.
been circled around by email, and then I'll be attaching it to the revised event.
We did. Excellent. Okay, item number 2 is the adoption of minutes from our February 12th meeting. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to review them. The recommendation is that minutes be adopted. And someone who will moved, seconded. Sorry. Carried. Okay. Item number 3, do we have any public?
There are no public comments.
Excellent.
Oh, sorry, Councilor Betty or anybody in the.
No public comments.
I'm just listening.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 4, start updates. So we're going to, if you haven't already noticed, we're a certain someone is enjoying his time in a very wet valley, I think. So so our project update will be by Xerxes. So this is item 4.1, page 7 of the market. So I just going to come to you, sir.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, so I will provide the update. So you know, we're on phase 3, so everything from phase 1 and 2 are completed. Stable. So staff and McElhaney and the steering committee have finished drafting the OCP outline. Draft OCP version 1 is essentially complete. And currently right now, McElhaney are working on the revised version 2 of the OCP. We're hoping to get version 2 of the OCP done by late March. And this would be worked on in a workshop in early April.
Is that the April 7th one that's been?
Is that a workshop or something?
It's a workshop.
It's a workshop.
It's a second draft before we're going public.
And this would contribute to version 3 of the draft OCP, which would go at the April 20th committee of the whole meeting. And any revisions from the committee of the whole meeting would then go to a final version 4, which would go out to a public engagement. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, just a quick question on that April 20th meeting, the committee of the whole, is that a public?
Yes,
Okay. So it'll be a public document. at
it'll
that
be
point.
public then. That's why the April 7th is workshop for version 2. If you want to, the last call for for perfection.
Okay,
Thank you.
I have a recollection that the mayor wanted council to see it before it became a public document. So where did that fit in this timeline?
So that's council. It's now a Cal. Are you suggesting the mayor wanted to have a closed
I
workshop
don't
for
know.
council?
I'm just thinking we should check.
Okay, I'll make a note to check on that.
David, you had a conversation with the mayor.
Yeah.
We talked about timelines, et cetera. Did that come up at all?
It did, that's my recollection as well, I agree
That
with
if we need-
Allison.
Oh, sorry, so it wouldn't be public, council receipt.
We didn't talk about public in so many terms, but
It's just
just sort
before
of process, and it seemed, my recollection, somewhat hazy, is that yeah, the idea was us, when we're comfortable with what we're presenting to council, then the public.
And we don't have any, there's no, regulatory requirement for how that process unfolds.
We may be able to close under the community charter provision regarding nascent municipal services. Or we could also do this workshop, so I can talk to the mayor about that
Okay.
and report back.
Okay, I do think, I mean, if that is an option, I think it does, I would, speaking on behalf of the committee, because I know this was a concern for us before, was to the degree that we're going to start a public process and it's already public and we're not really ready, or we're not ready to receive public comment in a way. So if it can be done in camera or not in a public way there, I think that would be a good thing.
Agreed.
Okay. Okay, any other questions on the update?
Oh, it's still.
Or are you still in the middle? Sorry.
Yeah, well, like well sign is just the Magnolia work plan that's in the presentation. You can see this back from January. It's pretty much shifted a few weeks from now. So public engagement probably won't start until late May, June. And the preparation of the public engagement materials, that'll shift a bit, as well as the presentation of the council. So everything you see here in this table should be shifted maybe 2-3 weeks.
Right, that's good.
Just to be clear, I think public engagement, not late May or late.
Sorry, I misspoke.
Okay, yeah, so,
May to early June.
yeah, maybe, yeah.
That's cool.
Early May.
Yeah, I think this is a more realistic timeline. Especially considering the comments that we as a committee observed during round one to get things ready to be able to go out. And obviously this is a much more important and substantive phase and being well prepared for that comment, I think serves the entire community much better than trying to rush it through. I agree.
Yeah.
That's all I said. Okay, that sounds good.
Oh, no, sorry, distraction.
I can tell. This is a question. This is,
There's a little thoroughness.
my mistake. Okay. Any other questions, anyone on the Zoom before we, okay? Guess not. Okay, so moving on to item number 5. So this is business arising from the minutes. So this is 5.1, I'm going to handle this one, and it's just a bit of a get us warmed up. So obviously this whole meeting is about getting us organized for the next round of consultation. We obviously don't have the final document in front of us, but we've all seen the first draft. We kind of know what we're going to be encountering. And so what we're hoping to get out of these next few items anyway is to sort of get us geared up for what this consultation should look like. To start with, we're just going to have a little bit of a reminder of our round one.
So I'm just putting that engagement plan that was provided to us at the beginning of the process.
Okay, yeah, so that was, why don't I start with that, just as a reminder, what we thought the timeline would be back when this engagement plan was presented to us, which was, is this have a date? March 2025, yeah. So the document you can see right now on the screen is the engagement plan, our communication engagement plan that was prepared by McElhaney and got us going in round one. And so what we wanted to highlight in here is what guidance does this give us around phase two? And so I think probably the best part.
There also is a timeline document I could show as well.
Yeah, the timeline will be, I mean, we originally thought we would be doing it in the winter, but does it show the steps? Maybe that would be better.
Steps, yeah. Apologies in advance for a little rough. Oh, can I measure me out? I think it's okay to read only. Okay.
Yeah.
Was this from before?
Yeah, that was from before, but just an idea of the steps and how long things took
On phase one,
in phase round one.
round one, yes, sorry. So what are we calling these?
Well,
Phases or?
it's been called both.
Okay.
We're landing in, Sarah and I agreed that round is the one.
Round?
Because we're in phase, Xerxes is at
Yeah, we're in
like,
phase 3 of the project, we're in
Okay.
round 2 of the consultation.
Got it, okay.
This is very exciting.
I know.
Yeah.
I'll do my best.
So that's the timeline that we, just all the steps that happened for round one.
Okay,
So there's feedback, 11 feedback on the plan. 16 proposed changes. 18th deadline for comments on the plan. April 24th, McElhaney prepared notice, the press release to appear in the undercurrent. Feedback, and then this month, May 8th, June 8th was the online survey was open, that also marked the dates for the pop-up events. So Sarah started with a working document, we can use those sort of structures to build something for, that's not too.
Is it in person?
Sorry.
Is there gonna be an in-person?
well, that's what we're going
It's
to
a
talk.
beautiful events. Yeah.
So, yeah, so that was what we did for round one. And in the timeline, in the plan itself, it's for round two. I'm using the right phrase, round two.
About the feedback that we provided for round.
Oh, yeah, no, I just was going to comment that in round two, it doesn't elaborate too much. So it gives us a lot of latitude on what we may have learned from round one that we want to look at. It's pretty similar for round two, or what they're putting in the plan in round two for round one. So let's talk about what we heard what we reviewed. In our July OCP meeting, we did a little debrief on how we thought everything went. And you have the notes from that, or our agenda of July.
I would prepare that for this agenda, but maybe we can.
That's okay. I can talk to them because I took a few notes that I'll just remind. I'm just going to go through. It's just like 5 bullet points, so it's not so bad. Okay, so what we highlighted as a group when we were reflecting on how we thought round one went and what we learned from it was as follows. So these were the questions in the survey that we asked, was tighten up the questions to allow for less ambiguity in goals and identifying more specific priorities. include recognition of conflicts, and identify trade-off positions in presentation materials. The second point was that there are inherent conflicts in some of the priorities, and also in the survey comments suggested that consequences of chosen paths could be illustrated. Now, again, that may be very relevant to a first round kind of survey compared to what we're doing here. Third point was target the next round of what the community would be willing to compromise on, not just what they want. The next is that it was suggested that there was a variety, there was variety in how people interpreted some of the questions, and that the language used to be field tested in advance of going public next round. That might be one we want to think about. The next comment was that include UNDRIP and circular economy in the presentation material and engagement next round. So probably more information or background on that. And then more lead time. So that's very relevant to what we're talking about today for successful engagement. And then the last one was that we acknowledged that there were concerns expressed by homeowners. There was concerns expressed that homeowners were more largely represented than renters. And
So what I put in the agenda for that was representation slash demographics of participants, because I believe that discussion came to a landing where there was a reflection of per capita on one.
right, yeah.
Or homeowners, but there are homeowners on Bowen and there are renters.
Oh, okay. Was I looking at draft? I couldn't.
So I just made that more general, like discussion around demographics and reaching out to more.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. So that gives us a little bit of context there. So what I thought we'd do is just take a few minutes. If anybody wants to further reflect on things that now that we've seen a draft of the document or that may have not been captured in our notes from our first round. Was there anything else around the first round that you want to make a comment?
I've got so much paper and I'm not sure whether, did we actually get a report or a summary that's of what we heard?
Yes.
Okay.
So that one, we did I think it was even our previous meeting. It may have been June. Oh, no, it might have been June. Must have been at the same meeting. We actually went through it was called a What We Heard report.
Okay, so it's up on the website.
Yes, and we had a presentation on the top. Oh yeah, is that it?
I'm just thinking about
Yeah.
And that was the one where we got some comments back that it didn't accurately reflect some of the open-ended survey questions. Remember that was and then it was amended to
Okay, so there,
reflect some more analysis of that.
so that then brings me up a question about where there were areas where there was strong community support to have this in the OCP or that in the OCP. Have we looked at the draft to see if those things have actually been picked up?
No, I mean, I don't think unless individually we were all kind of had that lens while we were reviewing stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't think I don't think there was a
But if there
specific.
was a strong support for having something in the OCP and the public looks at it and says, well, we all said we wanted this and it's not there.
Right.
So
At a very high level, the primary complaint was that the environmental concerns weren't emphasized in the report enough. It was like carrying capacity, infrastructure, environment were kind of like the three. And when they updated that What We Heard report, they emphasized that much more. And I would say personally that I think the first draft
does that.
addressed that a bit.
Okay.
So just.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So this is the official community plan update page through our website, Sarah maintains. It's just got this round one, engagement was now complete. There's the survey, it's closed, but we provide it for information. And here's the What We Heard report,
Yeah.
Counselor.
Yeah.
There's a link to the report out on that page. There's a link to sign up to our mailing list, which is just a general mailing list, and this is the process.
So out of curiosity, how many people have signed up?
This, the sign up is for our general
Oh, the
mailing
general
list.
mailing.
Yeah, we're including OCP information in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about creating a new list, but it seemed like there took so much time building that list.
Yeah, I mean, the main one that we have for the e-newsletters that go out each week and for, you know, sort of general alert, it's such a big list of people that signed up to receive information from Bowen Island Municipality. So I have on a couple of occasions sent out a standalone OCP related e-newsletter to that group. But the OCP is always sort of, you know, up the top of the newsletter that goes out each week as well. So I think that through that, we know we have reached a lot of people that way.
Can you tell how many people have hit that webpage?
I mean, people get the webpage.
Can we get the OCP
On this,
section?
I
yeah.
think so. Yes, I can tell how many people have clicked the links in the newsletters. So if I have a link to this webpage, I can go back into my statistics from the newsletter I send out and I can see how many people actually interacted with that
Just
link.
curious, whether
Um,
anybody's really interested.
I'm pretty sure I could ask our webmaster about individual pages. Like I found a way of seeing like the top 5 most interacted, especially recently with the ferry cam. It's very popular. But I haven't found a way to sort of go in and look at individual pages. I'm sure there is a way, so I can find out.
But we did, just to reflect on that, we felt that we, even just the respondents to the survey and the other attendance at events, we felt that we did very well in terms of reaching
Yeah, I
out.
was just curious as to whether anybody was following the process.
Oh, along,
particularly
yeah.
as we've been going
Oh, I see
along.
what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, or they're just sort of waiting for the next big public engagement. Yeah.
I would suspect probably that, because we were pretty clear about what sort of next steps would be when we needed to reach out, et cetera. Anybody else want to add a reflection on, did it almost a year ago?
I'm thinking about some of the materials that we produce, like the board. Some of them were pretty useful, but then like there were a few that like nobody read or really.
Understood.
What's that?
Or understood.
Yeah. So I think it would just be like not specific to the boards, but just a general comment that like
Be mindful of.
that it would be good if we spent more time like thinking through the materials, because like we got them, and I think that's like what we're trying to do here today, but like last time we got like draft materials and we didn't necessarily have a conversation about like what we needed or, but now that we know how it went the first time, we have a better idea of that. So maybe just like general actual materials for the engagement we could spend some more time working on as a committee.
That.
Maybe the comparison with Gibson's because they have their. They've done
We are
this.
going to hear about Gibson's in a few minutes. Sorry, Benny, did you have something? Or you?
Well, so with this survey, the draft will have already gone public before they address it. So to Adam's point, I thought some of the big charts we had last time were sort of impenetrable when we were doing like pop-up. But they might have been useful more in the context of preparing to do a survey, sort of a condensed what's in that whole OCP document. So you sort of orient yourself before you dive into the survey.
The only thing I might just, we don't know yet that if the document will become public before, that's one.
Yeah.
No, if it
Well,
don't.
between April 20 and late May, I think it will. I mean, it's hard to be a survey on something you don't know what's in it.
No, but if when council receives it, it is not received in public.
Well, there's a process.
Yeah.
So if we were to have a closed meeting,
Yes,
then it's released to the public after the closed meeting.
after. the close.
Or we would make resolutions to say, ask the steering committee to get the draft amended to include the da-da-da.
Yeah.
So it would then go back to, so it would get released to the public. You can't have a survey without.
No, that's what I was saying, that, excuse me, that the timing of releasing the document and the survey I think in a perfect world would be pretty close. You don't want to have a big lag. You have this document out in the public without any direction of what kind of feedback, because people will immediately give their feedback on it. And so, if that can
Has to be
be,
timed well.
yeah, I think the
So
timing
not
would
too
be,
much difference between them, but a long time frame for answering the survey.
Yeah.
To give people time to actually read the document.
absolutely.
I think maybe like when we start to notify people that the survey's coming up, like we just make a point of emphasizing it's a draft. It hasn't been finalized.
Yeah.
Revisions, or we're gonna make revisions after this ratification,
Yeah,
like just
yeah.
make it very clear.
Oh, great.
Like McElhaney in their at the start of the project, right? They said that they would make it more concise and more readable. So then, how do you get feedback on something like that? Because it's like, you probably noticed, like, it's also quite repetitive at times. And you kind of wonder if things are in the right sections even, right? So that's more, you expect the public to give feedback on that. It may even be worth the question actually, because people are not going to read it. You know what I mean?
Can I ask you to hold that thought? Let's go through the next few items, and when we get into the need of, that's gonna be very relevant. So I will call it at that, if nobody
Can
else.
I just
has-
make sure I got a really like
Yeah.
an accurate capture of this, since it's all very actionable? So just for discussion, we just had the boards can be better, again, we'll be talking about this more, and that Betty's comment, the pop-ups and boards can serve to orient people to the survey. I captured that correctly.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is everybody's not gonna slog through 100 however many pages. But there are key things that we've been focusing on or that people have showed a high interest in. Maybe there's a way of summarizing.
Like key themes.
Yeah, I think
Key themes.
some talking points for members who are going to be facing the public, so that we're saying similar things, but also that we're ready for, Joe Everidge to come up and say, so what's different?
So I have
And we need an
that
answer for.
under what McElhaney could do better, but like get the OCPSC, the elevator pitch early.
Perfect.
Okay.
And we need, I should have said this earlier, we need exposure to the collateral pieces before we show up at 10 o'clock at the fire hall to present them, because then, last time, my first one, I was trying to figure out where things went. Waste of time.
I don't know. Get members. Exposure and training, yeah.
But that question that I think Betty just raised, people are gonna say, well, what, is there anything any different?
Yeah, I think that the key to that will be, you can't have someone comment on how many, whatever we end up with that page.
Okay, but are there any significant new things?
You have to, yeah.
Then I think those probably need to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What's-
Yeah, your 8 points that you need to get across.
But even like a board,
Yeah.
like one of the boards, like what's different from 2011?
Yeah,
Great, yeah.
Yeah.
Like what's changed?
or what we think there might be consent,
What's been removed?
dissension on or something, yeah.
Yeah,
And I think we have to be really careful as a group about our answer to the what has changed question. Not that we always have to agree about what's important, but we can't have one person saying this and the other person saying that, and they don't line up, because then we end up with an out of control message.
Not to jump ahead on our agenda. but
Yes,
that may be
sorry.
relevant under new business section number 6, so don't lose that thought yet. Okay, so because we're all eager to start talking about the next round, before we still have one more thing to do. So we're going to have a bit of an overview on Gibsons and what they did. So I'm going to move us to 5.2, and Sarah's going to take us through that.
Yeah, okay. So he's gonna try.
Did you have a chance to have a look at Yeah. Okay, so from what I read with this, they kind of, to me, it seemed as though it was a little bit more pared down in the second round. I don't know if it seemed that way to you. They definitely, like with the engagement methodology, they had a survey, they did some pop-ups, and then the rest was sort of just through comments and email submissions. And then they obviously went out and approached relevant interest holders. And I wondered sort of how do you guys feel about that? Is that as we move into our round two, like are we, do you want to sort of a sort of a pared down version of round one, or is it something that
Pared down?
yeah, like that I felt as though when reading through this that it was sort of a pared down version of what we had done in round one.
I feel like the opposite.
Did you?
Oh, no, like, I mean, like, our
We
approach.
should have
I think
more.
and I agree,
Yeah.
yeah, I think our approach should be, yeah. I was agreeing with that.
Sorry, when you say pared down, what do you mean by pared down?
I just found that I mean, and maybe I'm wrong, I mean, maybe I'm reading this document. I found that it was just a brief list of methods that they used to reach out and collect the data. I felt, and they did. I mean, they had these events that they were at.
And these were like pop-up.
These are pop-up events. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, they did get 216 responses in 28 days. But I know my feeling from reading this report was that we could do a lot more, to be
Okay,
honest,
yeah.
was my feel. But I wanted to see how you all feel about that.
More than we did or more than Gibson's did?
More than Gibson did.
I'm looking at page 2 of this report, so
Mhm.
data collection is. That's what they did last summer on the draft. Is that timeline?
So the data collection, that to me is a list of the events that they attended.
On then round 2.
Yeah, for their
Okay,
round. So that was the events that they
So it was
attended.
a month long and then
Yeah.
some pretty significant places where, there's always a lot of people.
Mhm.
But the interesting thing was, it says in-person events led by Gibson staff.
Yes.
So was it led by the volunteers on the committee? That'll be different. And during the outside typical work hours, so.
Mhm. Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, personally, I would think like more than both what we did for phase one and then
Yeah.
definitely more than Gibson's. I mean, 218 for a population of Gibson's, which is like significantly more than us, is
It's.
not exactly a
It
great.
still hasn't hit 5,000.
I think that, yeah, they're very close.
They're
to
very
us.
close to
Okay.
us.
They
Well,
just have a
like
theater and a
seashells.
hospital.
Like, what did we do round one with survey responses?
it was like 5.
Yeah.
Well, they had 500 in their first response, close to, I think, and we were happy. I remember Daniel commenting that we got more responses than that.
We
Yeah.
we definitely got more
But-
responses,
but
but
not a
significantly
lot
more.
more.
Whatever we do, I wanna rub Gibson's face in it, so. Yeah, no, I mean, like, if you look at where they were too, like, those aren't necessarily, there's a couple community events in there, but like grocery store.
Yeah,
No, but those are places where you're gonna get people coming and
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
A lot of high traffic.
did you think that they had sort of a big enough range to really gain insight from a good cross section of people? So you want all demographics included. Do you think that type of range was enough to achieve that, or do you think?
I mean, no, I mean, there's no real like specific kind of, I don't know how, when you would describe them, like,
Well, there was the public market, night market.
yeah. I just mean like we went to like the Legion soup, like we were at specific types of community events.
Yeah.
Which I think is good.
But then there's a specific audience you might have been targeting that you get at those.
Yeah, which I think is like I think that's good and
Yeah, it's being intentional about who we
Yeah.
talk to
Yeah.
or listen to. It's
better way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I had quite a few comments, but on the survey, I want to remind us about the glitches people have. And even though I want it to be a really good survey, I wonder if it could be a bit shorter this time. I mean, people really got stuck in there and they got kicked out, and that was a problem. And we already talked about the charts. I thought the charts need to suit the purpose that we're using them for. And then just from going to a lot of duties, open Saturdays and also running into people in the community, there's a lot of desire to have like roundtable discussions or charrettes or something where people can really sit down and talk about a subject that they feel strongly about, like, I don't know, visitor rental accommodations or something, that they really want to not just talk to you and me about, but they want to hear what other people are thinking and sort of crowdsource the ideas. And I know that's sort of a bigger thing, but I thought that some of the pop-ups were more useful and some of them were really not worth the time we spent out there. So I guess I'm arguing for one or two opportunities when maybe all day long you can go into the community center and join a table group and talk about a topic or something like that.
Well, I was also wondering, since it's a draft, what are we going to present? I mean, are we going to actually have an open house public meeting where the draft is presented?
That's what I was waiting to say was, you know, want something in the theater, in the gym, something like that.
Can I stop us again? I think these are all good things, but let's just close out. Because we're
One
just
thing
here
at
to
a
get into
time.
the main topic.
Yeah.
So let's just hold those thoughts because they're all good. Because I think Sarah's going to take us through some things on what we want to see. Is there any other comments you want to make about what you may have just in the, obviously we just seen this document, none of us participated in the process in Gibson's, but was there any other reflections on that just to close out that item? Okay. So Sarah,
Okay.
so give these people what they want.
So I had a meeting with Colton and Sandra earlier this week, and we were talking about the engagement that's coming up. One common theme that did keep coming up with the level of support in terms of materials being provided to us, in terms of actual sort of boots on the ground, with support for pop-up events and that kind of thing, was potentially we're low on budget, right? To put it that way. So originally they were saying that they had approximately 20 hours that they could give us for the design of materials, collateral. That has come down since then. I received an email saying that it would be a very small amount of design time that would be available to us for collateral for the yes.
If that was in the original quote, why is it down?
Well, it's possible that Daniel may know more about that than me. That's sort of above where I would sit, with the project manager. Yeah. But that's sort of where we are now. We also have, he said, 2 people for one full day of sort of pop-up engagement event or an open house or something like that. So we could have 2 people for one day, or we could have, 1 person for 2 days, was kind of the way that he described that. So it kind of, to me, looks as though what we decide to do as far as engagement goes is it's kind of up to us, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think it's really good. We can get together and we can decide. We can decide on a timeline that really works well for us. We know Bowen Island very well. Like, we know the people that we're engaging with, and we know how they like to be engaged. As far as materials go, I can show you. So I do have, let me see. share my screen. I was sent, just to bring everybody's memories back. So,
It's also on the website.
yeah.
It's, posters.
So I may as well start with these because we talking about them. I want people's feedback on these sorts of boards. So these were the big boards that we had. Like we had some of them out here in the foyer, and we had them at each of the pop-up events. So what I can do with these, I can actually go through and just edit each of these sorts of things to sort of bring them up to date, or we can. Like that would probably, for these larger boards, that would probably be my recommendation, if I'm honest. And then, there's this one with the sticky notes. These are, we don't need to have answers to these questions right now, but what we should be thinking about is, is this something that we want to move forward with again? Or is this something that we didn't find to be particularly helpful? That's, same here. So just to refresh you on all of those.
There, that's fine.
There,
Answering a question, I think those boards were super helpful.
Yeah.
People responded to them,
yeah,
as long as they're up to date, yeah.
yeah, perfect.
Quick, some of them were appropriate for the first phase of this
Yeah.
plan,
Mhm.
and so. I think we need and it kind of almost goes back to what you were saying about the roundtables. I think in principle, that's a great idea. However, where we are in the process, we have a draft of the plan.
Yeah.
And we're not asking necessarily for general input about values and whatever, we're gonna be asking for feedback on the draft.
No, so ideally what I would do with these, I would take the format of this
Yeah.
and then just completely change
Yeah,
the actual information that we're collecting from these to receive, the feedback on the draft. I mean, this is the feedback
Yeah.
that we were receiving, to create the draft, right?
That's what I thought I was being encouraging about.
Yeah.
So
my mistake.
looking at that one, to me, we've changed the values. They're not exactly the same, I don't think. So just put up and say, here's the values that we have
Mhm.
for the updated OCP. Do they resonate well with you or do you like them?
Yes.
We do something along that line, because if they don't like the values, then we're sort of missed the mark somehow.
Mhm.
And then if you had one of the other ones, which you could turn around to say, not that one, but I guess.
Yeah, so this one,
Yeah.
probably not as applicable on this.
This one, I'm saying I'm happy with or I don't like.
Oh, yeah, my favorite part.
Yeah, no, that's true. My favorite copy, and I can, again, this
Or
is just for
somehow.
layout
We
purposes,
gotta tease out what people aren't happy with. That's it somehow.
There's a lot of content here.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I think is going, when we already talked about this, was the key themes.
Yeah.
And so, I do think that that will probably be, there'll be a lot of work just to take from a document we haven't seen complete yet, but have an idea where it's going. Then taking from that, what are the key themes and the key changes in section. One thought I had was, we've created these four or five buckets that we've been working on through our subcommittee work. They kind of might lend themselves to the key theme areas and to highlight the changes of in each of those areas as a way of teasing that out. What do people think of that?
Yeah, but you just said about the changes, but it also means there's an expectation that people know what's in the existing OCP. So in a way, you can say that that's almost in your way. You can also say, I just present, this is the new OCP.
Yes.
What's nice about that is comparison in a way becomes irrelevant, I think. You can have it somewhere,
Yeah.
but on the other hand, Is it just about the changes or is it?
No, but it is an update. We're not starting from scratch.
That's true.
Right?
But I think we need two sets of talking points, because we're gonna have people who say, what's
the most
OCP,
important
what are we doing? And we're gonna have people who say, I know the old plan, what do I need?
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at Gibson's thing, and
Yeah.
there's a board that says what's new, but. One of the things I think the designations are totally different. Than what the land use designations are totally different from what we're used to, so I think. That's probably an area we're going to have to explain.
Yeah, as a comparison.
And we could create, like, I mean, we could create
Well, you
documents.
can have a big map and
Yeah,
and then try and explanatory notes or something.
Yeah,
So when we did the second round of engagement for the plan that I mentioned earlier, we had developed a discussion guide that went along with it. This was like a standalone document. It was about 40 pages.
Yeah.
How many pages is the OCP actually without ditching? Does anybody know?
I don't know what it is.
But what it did was like, it answered, you could answer questions that. Or explain things that don't fit easily on a simple board with some. Like you could explain more complicated things, and. It was an accompany to the survey, so like you would read that document as you did the survey or before you did whatever. So it makes the survey shorter because you don't have to provide preambles or contextual information for each question if it's needed. So it makes the survey smaller. It's almost kind of like those pop-out boxes we were talking about with the discussion or for the plan itself, is where you could just kind of like, for like example, the land use. We've consolidated the number of different categories. This is why, like you can explain some of those things. It's more work, but it probably, it's very helpful.
yeah, so like, we could create something like that to go along, and we could have them, that would be great, actually.
And then like when we announce the public engagement, like it's just a link on that landing page.
Mhm.
People will come to events more informed, presumably, like
Yeah.
it would do a lot of legwork for us, so it's probably worthwhile to do it in advance.
So what would you say, like, what's the easiest way, or not the easiest, I guess, but like, what's the best way for us to pull out sort of those main points, main ideas that people are they want to have that sort of, that quick guide reference, like what's the easiest and.
I would assume like when we get the next draft.
Yeah,
we-
might be trying to do.
Yeah.
Like
All of
we,
the sections.
Yeah.
Parse it out with a subcommittee, work.
Well,
Well,
maybe.
how it shows up in the OCP draft.
because it'll be like sections, there'll be a few
Yeah.
things we'll want to highlight, I presume, for each section. And it's probably just us trying to figure out what those things are.
Yeah.
I like the idea of a discussion guide. I mean, I am a little worried though that to prepare it is not an easy feat. So what might be some ideas?
It doesn't need to be polished, like when we did it, it's not gonna graphically look as nice as one of their reports or something, but I mean,
I've used discussion guides and things that I worked on before, and they are meant to take you through something to frame your discussion. That's really what it is, right? One possible way of doing that is we assign the discussion guide content to the subcommittees. You kind of frame it saying, okay, you guys know this area. What would you want to frame? You're going to take a reader before they're opening up this OCP and they're going to talk about the circular economy. What do you want them to know? And what do you, it could be about the previous plan, the current plan, the emerging things, the big hot topic, it could be anything.
Yeah.
But that group or each of those groups have been spending some time on looking at the policies and like, they could be, here's the kind of things, with some guidance, because we can't have 5 different kind of, is it 5 different, whatever we did, 5 different ways in which we've done a discussion guide where, you know, one group has got a paragraph, and the other has 12 pages, right? So, yeah, like almost a little bit of a template. Maybe,
We should just agree on an outline beforehand, and then
and a
that's,
good way of doing an outline might be to ask 3 or 4 questions.
well, like, I assume they're all gonna have an opening preamble for each section.
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to orient people to the survey and like, what are the key questions we're asking in the survey per these sections? And then we have a conversation about like trade-offs. This would probably be a good place to be like, what are the key trade-offs here in these questions? So if you answer the survey in a certain way, like, we don't want like, it should try and be as concise as possible, because otherwise people, it's the same thing, people aren't gonna read a 100-page document before they do a survey, so. Like as punchy as we can make it,
Some people.
yeah, yeah, no, some will for sure.
That's, I think that we were talking about that before, like prior to the meeting, like I think that is probably a pretty good solution to the fact that there aren't that many people that will read that, you know, 100-page document before doing the survey, and that will probably be a reason for them not to do the survey. Because they're like, well, I haven't had time to read it, so I'd like to complete the survey. With a document like that, they'll read that, they'll have a fair idea, and a lot of the people that wouldn't necessarily have responded before will have captured their responses as well, I think.
It's like layers, somebody's coming in fresh, knows nothing,
Yeah.
somebody knows a little bit from the discussion guide, some knows a lot
Yeah.
from reading everything, it's different types of.
Yeah, you do wanna tease out at least at a level of broad engagement, what people would be willing to give their opinion on.
Yeah.
You will get, and no doubt, some very detailed things from people on a lot. Maybe just this is their topic area or things that they like, and they're gonna give you a very detailed question about, or detailed things about each policy or what, I mean, we're gonna get that, but what we're trying to get is not, those people will engage. Is trying to get the people who have an opinion, would participate, but aren't really familiar with how to deal with LCP or, but we still we wanna tease that out on what are the most important things. So you kind of have to keep it pretty snappy.
Yeah.
And then in your survey, probably, you know, you ask some questions specific to that, and then you allow they're open-ended on, you give your comment on everything else that you want in that specific topic area.
One thing that you had mentioned in the bullets that you shared earlier was like the legibility of it, and I don't know, Sarah, like how you do it here, but like when we develop a survey, we intentionally share it with like people at TransLink who are not anywhere near to the type of planning that we're doing,
And see how they answer.
and just see like,
God.
yeah, and so we kind of like
Beta
share
test
it,
it,
yeah, we kind of like, we do a lot of that because we've been talking about this for a year and a bit. And
So not planning department, for the public works department.
yeah,
Right.
like anybody who's willing to help, it's like, you know, have we explained what a DPA is? You know, like those types of things, like, because there is a lot of folks, like, the Birch survey, the Birch survey is out right now, and I've been getting texts from people who are asking for clarification on like different types of permitting things. And some people, if they don't feel like they have the information to respond, just won't do the whole survey.
Yeah, there we go.
Like they're turned off by the, like, okay, this isn't for me or whatever, so. The legibility and then also like making sure the information in the discussion guide is like readable in a public context. I think it's gonna be very important.
This with regards, sorry, you go.
Is it relevant now, just that I popped Colton that I have a.
Go ahead, right in front of me, yeah.
Please do.
Colton also did just send us an email right as we were starting the meeting, with regards to the survey. We just sort of asked him sort of how.
Put him on the spot.
Yeah, we did put him on the spot a little bit and just asked him what he thought it would look like. And at this point, he's saying he doesn't know exactly what it would look like. It would be designed to present key aspects of the updated OCP and to get levels of support and concern about the updated OCP. I anticipate that there will be questions about feedback on the following topics. So the vision, the principles, the land use designations, mapped locations of that, policy topics and highlights, and then an open-ended comment box for additional comments. So
It's not far off.
yeah, so do that.
Sorry, was that the survey or just the?
Survey.
We just popped a quick email, like, we're just about going to the meeting, what do you
that's-
have in mind for the survey?
So vision and principle. Yeah, okay.
Oh,
And actually, sorry, that, the beginning of that email might lend us a bit of a cheat sheet about what has changed. Like if they're talking about presenting key aspects of the updated OCP, that could be a list that we could use as a starting point to develop our own list.
I mean, if there's a significant change in the way from what we have now to what's going forward, that's going to affect a lot of people or possibly affect them adversely, then I think we need to highlight those.
yeah,
In the topic area, or do you mean the whole document? Like, are you,
Well, I guess I'm, key changes or significant changes or something like that, that, something you want people to.
because I think like looking at his list of, that would be that policy topics highlights. I would still use the structure of the document in our subcommittees
Yeah,
as being the major headings for that.
Yeah.
And then I think, the vision and principles obviously stand on their own. The only thing I might do, I'm getting too detailed here, but I would reorder this. So it's vision principles. Then I'd get into policy topics and highlights. You kind of want to know, like, what are the big things that then,
Just to be clear, you really
influence.
answered this in like 10 minutes, so I'm sure you guys have free reign to.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And then land use designations and the map. So I think that it kind of flows. You got the big picture, principles, the vision. They go down to the policy areas and the topics. And then how does that relay on to an actual land use designation and land use designation map?
How does the order of the
We changed the OCP or we asked that the order be changed.
So
That's-
draft.
so that land use designations will be, I mean, whatever we do should follow the
Yeah,
same order as the document, and I thought land use designations were the beginning, but
We moved,
They-
yeah,
they
we
were.
moved them down.
I hate SharePoint.
Really?
I think that's a fairly decent structure. Anybody, sorry, did I miss a hand? Did you have a hand up? No, you have your phone up.
Make picture.
Evidence.
I mean, right now, this is fine. Like, we'll see, like, when we actually start to see what a survey
Yeah.
looks like. But generally, sure.
But I guess if you guys have material you want to like flag this with to them, then that we might get from them more of what you want.
Yeah.
Than if they
you
just
say
come in.
feedback that we can.
Yeah,
give
like if
back
we-
straight away.
Do you want to share that email with us and we respond to you
Yes.
and you consolidate?
Yeah.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Wait, why couldn't we just capture that here and then get that?
Yeah,
from
we
us?
can do that right now if you want. Steph, do you want to take the notes?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, do you want to just go around the room? Does
I'm
anyone have
totally
feedback?
not quite sure what are we doing.
We're gonna go around the room and give feedback on this. If you have it, you don't have to, because then we'll formulate a response to call.
Like, and sorry, just to clarify, like, we're talking about just the survey.
Just the survey, yeah.
But the survey is gonna ask questions about all those things.
Well, what kind of question would you like them to ask?
Well, I wanna know whether they like the, agree with or disagree with their vision. Each one, don't ask in total, you've gotta put each one and then say, do you agree? Are you in support of this? Or, I don't know, I don't know whether it's a range or yes or no.
Range.
Range, yeah.
For each
Well,
vision,
there are like trade-offs or something
I
here?
have no.
Well, we have one
or
vision.
sorry, for each principle.
Yeah. And then principal, same
Yeah.
thing.
Well, the principles are underneath, so I guess we got one vision.
Yeah,
And
sorry.
And I guess if they
It'll be
don't
the
agree,
same.
do you want to know why? Or what it is they don't agree with?
Or that's missing or.
Yeah, I think if we're gonna ask them if they don't agree, we have to capture
Yeah.
what they say is missing.
Like, yeah, if not,
And
why?
the same for the vision.
So we'll have to have an open ended for each one of those.
Yeah.
Do we have to be,
You have to get for each principal. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't
Maybe
use
it's
the group because I got
Yeah.
something the other day and I announced trust policy statement or something and they had them all up together and I was happy with 3 of them and hated 4 of them.
and do we want to be so specific as to say something like, do you agree with this vision for the community? Because we're encouraging people to look at the whole community rather than their neighborhood or their special interest group or whatever. I just wonder if it might lead them in a more broad-minded direction.
No.
Okay,
I think that's great messaging. Betty, you're talking last round about the importance of language. I think that's for the community piece in there.
Yeah.
that can be part of our presentation too, you know, what we're talking about here is the whole community and everything. We get that whatever issue might be really important to you, but we're not that specific in this part.
We still haven't talked about whether or not we're going to have one public meeting in the theater where we presented.
No, we
I think we have to.
One of those dunking things where people throw balls and
No.
each one of the committee
Like a
members.
community, like a community open house.
Big open house.
So that's not the survey. Should I take this down then?
No.
No, I'm
Yeah,
just,
I think we should stick.
I did make a note because you talked about the theater that's noted in the.
I'm just looking at 5.2 and it
Let's look at this.
doesn't move on to base.
So for policy topics and highlights,
Sorry, is principals a range or a yes or no?
range.
So that if not, have to tweak that. Not ish range.
So for the,
If you had a range, then you can't. Do you agree or disagree? And if you disagree, what?
it's not designed now.
Yeah,
but
let's
the
get, let's
notion
keep it
of,
slow.
it's
Brian.
either it's going to be sort of, does this resonate with, I mean, there's probably a
Yeah.
whole bunch of different ways you could.
Yeah,
But the notion is that there's some feedback on it that
Yeah.
is, you know, how does it sit with you? And if not, there's obviously some open-ended. On the policy topics and highlights,
Is this
I-
like toward the trade-offs though?
I wonder how we're
Where
gonna
are
do
these trade-offs?
trade-offs.
Like it was like all over my notes.
I
This
know,
Trade-off
and we
things. So
just
you guys
said
need
it.
to, now the
But-
time to shine on
Maybe
that.
you could ask them where they think that the trade-offs should go.
They're gonna ask why we keep asking for something every because it's all.
I think. Again, if you had a bit of a discussion guide, it will frame things. And it may frame why some of the policies are written the way they are. Hold that for
Yeah,
one thought, just let me make this one point. What I'm worried about is we get into the trap of asking everybody's opinion about every policy.
Yeah.
And that would just be a nightmare and everybody, so we do have to think what's a better approach to that. Is it, again, in the discussion guide, you can kind of give background of how these policies came to, like why these
Yeah.
ones.
Do you do a ranking of like,
But you could,
Your
you
priority.
could though, around, because all the policies are grouped. I mean, if you remember, they were all had the same numbers in the address, saying presumably they
we're
won.
talking about part 3 objectives and policies section,
Yeah,
not
So-
the section land use.
no, not land use, just on the policies. What you may do is, is group them together and ask about them as a group. And kind of thinking out loud here, sorry. If you could ask them about, their thoughts on them as a group. Do they cover what's missing or what shouldn't be here? So you're kind of teasing out, and then I guess in a way that might tease out sort of those options. You could explain the background. It could be why, I don't know.
I don't know why you're calling them policies, because the objectives at first. And the policies are more how to administer it, so I think we should be talking about the objectives.
And policies.
Could we just ask McElhaney for their last, I don't know, phase 2 surveys they've done in the last 5 years as a starting point?
Maybe even Gibson's is on their website.
Do we have the phase 2 survey for Gibson?
Like, we could just look
I
and
have
see
been
what
on that.
they
We
did
can
and
ask
give
what
us
the
What's the link?
the type of questions they asked,
Yeah, I
and
think-
then that would be probably a good starting point.
This might be hard for us to. It's almost like we want to design it. It's premature.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good start, though. Just, you
Yes,
guys
you're
wanted
thinking.
lots of lead time, so we
Yeah.
don't wanna.
Yeah,
Leave
no,
a
I
little
think
bit
that-
of opportunity, get a little juices flowing, a bit of structure.
I think providing them with some feedback is really, I think.
So do we just talk about the objectives, because they're the higher level. Versus the policies.
Let's get that survey. We'll ask.
I think if we just see what they've done
Yeah,
previously.
I would like to see some examples of that. Because otherwise you could be asking so many questions.
Yeah, we're gonna wanna limit sort of what we're asking for feedback on, because we're not asking for like input. We're asking like, what we have here hitting the mark or not? And if not, how do we change it?
Yeah.
Like, really?
Or you could almost have a few similar questions for each of the areas, the objectives and policy areas.
Like, I think what we kind of wrote down on that in those questions above, like, is more or less what we're asking for everything. And like, just specifically what it is we're asking in each section, probably, like, the objectives and policy part are gonna be, well, that'll be tricky, that's the tricky part.
Or do we just ask them, how we, like, list the main headings, one right through to whatever it goes to? And have we missed a topic? Ask them.
Um. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, do you want to, I said everyone has like a handout there with a bunch of questions that, the first section of questions there, the questions 1 to 4. Those are questions that, Courtney had, specifically asked, for me to gather information from you guys on. And that's also, actually, that's really helpful for me as well, answers to those, and then discussion points, those are the ones that the Daniel had kind of suggested that we go through maybe one by one and sort of share opinions on those. I thought that sort of from here we could, like, with this information, then I can go away and come up with sort of a plan. It'll be loose due to the we're not quite sure with the dates where everything's going to line up, but I think that I can come up with something that reflects the answers to all of these questions, and then bring it back to the next meeting and show you guys where I'm at, and hopefully that aligns sort of with the kind of month, the month that you guys are hoping for this. Does that work for all of you? Yes.
Sounds like a lot.
Is,
Oh,
Oh, Alex.
let's do. Oh, maybe just.
Sorry, I've just been quietly here the whole time for the most part.
We didn't know you were there. You've been too quiet.
Sorry.
is it possible that we could share these questions out via email as well, just
Yeah,
to,
100%. That was actually, yeah. if you could do that. Is it possible that I could send all this out after the meeting, and then, you know, in your own time, you could reply to me and I can then collate everything and put it all together and come up with something for the next meeting? Is that cool?
Sure.
Yeah.
Should have a deadline though.
Go ahead.
Sorry, this is more a point of access than a point of order, but I set it up so I tried to have a photo of myself displayed on screen when I'm joined to the meeting. Does that not show up that way?
Only when you're talking.
It shows up that way on Zoom. It doesn't show up that way on YouTube.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
We're looking at you too.
Yeah, it doesn't work, doesn't it?
I can see it. Someone can see it. Right.
So another action to figure that out. Well, Alex, you know, we're getting a whole new system. So maybe we can incorporate this challenge into that install.
Okay, thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it.
Shows up when he's talking. There's a little picture of him. Talk again, Alex.
In the caption.
All right, talking. Not sure
Yeah.
exactly what to say, but I am talking currently. Can you hear me?
That's fine.
It's working
I just
great.
wanted to show everybody.
Is it showing up on
Sarah,
screens?
I had a question. You mentioned earlier about like the limited faculty support for engagement.
Mhm.
Last time we did this, it was largely this group
Yeah.
with support of the planning team. I'm wondering if it would be reasonable to make a broader ask of staff here. Like when we do engagement, we typically like ask everybody in policy and planning
Yeah.
who would like to support engagement.
Yeah.
And typically we do like a session where we kind of do like a crash course on what we're doing engagement on, and we get people like trained up a little bit. A lot of people like to do it. There's obviously some, like, it's not like we don't tell people they have to, it's just like a volunteering opportunity.
Mhm.
It might be really helpful in this case to like kind of supplement, because a lot of us were doing a lot of engagement during that period of time. And I think it would probably be good.
I can certainly bring it to a group and see if there is appetite for that.
Yeah,
I don't know what we get, but I can certainly bring it to the group and see if that's possible, because
yeah, and like if we have to like consent people to like volunteer, how we typically do it is like, say if it's like out of working hours, it's like a time in lieu sort of, like if you came and did an event for a couple hours, you would get a couple hours.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this is very important for the municipality.
Mhm.
Like, I don't really think it's, like, I would imagine that the decision makers here would be supportive of something like that.
Yeah, it impacts everybody. It would be a good educational.
Which brings environment, and while Adam was talking, I had another thought. Have we run the environmental sections by Carla? I have not. I mean, we've got departments that have specific responsibility for certain things.
It's not in our work.
She's been invited in, but she hasn't.
But no, but I mean, but
Participated.
before we go out with the draft document, if there's something in there that she thinks is off the wall, then we should know.
Wouldn't that be true of all the?
Yeah, no, I'm
departments?
trying to say that.
Public Works and.
Public, you know, for Sarah, maybe for Public Works, and Jillian for where we've got recreation.
Is that-
things like that? I don't know.
So a staff layer, a staff.
What do you do at TransLink? I mean.
Oh, no, I mean,
Yeah,
everybody who has any sort of potential impact from any sort of policy that we write is
yeah.
shared with
Are you
it well.
suggesting that maybe we do like that start
review.
later?
Yeah,
Before we move
senior
into-
staff.
You could do that almost now.
Almost now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could practice on them. We could.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, the kids are on out eating or right over here.
I'd like to ask a question for, kind of struggling with that. You have the round one and you have the round two, and the surveys are done. I can see that the the purpose of a survey in round one is different than in round two. You know, in round two you have something. Now, is it all up for grabs, or do you want people to, like, is it more like data collection? How much is something liked or not? Like, you know, so but then if it's not liked, do we dump it or so? But then, or is it more to try to get some relevant answers? So for instance, if you would read the vision statement, and if a person reads it and they think, well, it's okay, right? Then why would you ask them to respond?
Mhm.
You know, I just don't really get that. Like, it's almost, yeah, I'm an architect, right? We do at the beginning of the process, we try to understand what everybody wants. Now we have a design. We just, you know what I mean? But we're not going to ask everything if it's okay, because first of all, most people don't really know the answer to it. And then you just, I mean, what are you going to do with it? Like, I kind of like the idea that you're proud of what you have there, the vision statement. And then maybe I would just ask him, do you have comments on that? And if you get comments back, then you look at the comments. But what's the purpose? Is this not
To see if people support it.
Yeah, but then what?
So for example, in that question, like if question one is like, what is your level of support for the current phrasing of the vision statement? And we get 80% of people say, yeah, that's great. Like, we like it. And then 20% don't like it as much. And then of those comments where they say, I wish that it emphasized the environment more, or whatever, if there's something that's like clear that we should add, like if there's a general consensus that the vision statement's missing something, then you change the vision statement a little bit. Like, I think you have to, like, if you just ask for comments, you don't really know the general
That's huge.
level of support.
It's
Okay.
very helped to wade
Okay.
through them all.
That's why you kind of you
But that's
tease
the
out
difference,
some of the
right?
things
Of
like
course, the
this.
level of support.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that if somebody reads it and they find something that they really want to comment on, like that's something, right? So it's in the document somewhere. And you hear that, you know? Like, if you think about the first survey, right? I went through all of them, and a lot of them are really fast answers, you know, more fairies or whatever, right? And it goes on, and some of them you could track them, I mean, you get a number, but in between it, they're actually really relevant answers. You know, that needs some time. You want to read them. So I just want to know in general, because you do a lot of surveys, and you know, Sarah too, I guess, is that like if you look at the first one and if you look at the second one, like what is the best purpose for it to get a quality document in the end?
If you don't ask that level of support question and say you saw 20 comments that said, I hate this, right? You might think that that is like representative of the people, all the respondents, and it's not, or it may be, but maybe it isn't.
It could be the vocal minority.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
well,
usually
the
is.
people that object to something are usually the ones that come out and speak, not the people that are in support, the silent majority.
So you ask that first question as a way to like, how much weight are we giving the negative responses? Because if 95% of people are like, oh, this is awesome, okay, it's great. Like, sure, those 5%, we should listen to those comments and maybe we make a minor tweak or not. Or we say almost everybody's happy with this. We don't really need to make any changes.
Yeah, we have a good answer for why we're not.
Yeah. And so it's like kind of like it explains the changes that we will or won't make, and it'll give us some sort of like cover almost.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I would totally agree. And then it gives you some sense of, I mean, you have to, if we're trying to engage in meaningful consultation, which I'm going to say we hope to, then you will do it in a way that isn't just like, what do you think of this? So you have to meet people where they, you know, and so some of it you will know that will not ever read that document, but still need to know some of the key themes in it and say, oh, you know, whatever it will be about growth or whatever, you've still provided an opportunity. And we can then interpret that, saying, actually, looking at that, we know that this is how a certain amount of population feels this way. The other part of it is just to know where that is and making giving our best advice as a committee directing council, saying your community doesn't want to see any growth. I mean, I'm being facetious here. I mean, maybe not, but it would be, but that's not an option for us.
Mhm.
But you need to know that.
Yeah.
And so here's ways in which, you know, we're putting this forward and saying that we think these are the kind of policies and content of this document is worthy of your consideration, council. So I think that to find that out, we need to engage in a meaningful way and ways in which people can be engaged.
It also makes our next phase of work a lot easier in that like, if there's areas where people are like, oh, great job.
Yeah.
We don't have to work as hard
Yeah.
on those ones. And then if there's areas where like, you guys really missed the mark,
Yeah.
then we know kind of like what we can focus on.
And it's the questions you ask and the questions you don't ask.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
I
yeah.
always said when you're asking for a legal opinion, the question you ask will depend entirely on the opinion you get.
That's true.
If we're at one, what I was wondering, and not being.
No, please go.
I think it'd be worthy for us to spend some time in having that conversation around is it called the tech or what are these events or whatever? I don't know.
Well, I think we need to have a community meeting where we present it. And McElhenney, and that's where we should use McElhenney's stuff.
Is that a public meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, an actual public. meeting.
An actual public meeting in here or in the gym in the school. I know there's a lot of community members that wants to use this and not pay for rent there. So,
But I think we're hoping to get more people who would fit in the theater.
well, how many seats are there?
175. 175.
That's just kill it. You'll get more people.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, so I think,
As we get closer to summer, it's gonna be tough to get more than that.
yeah, and the gym was 250, so I don't think it's much.
What,
Oh, is that right?
I
Oh,
think
okay.
so, I don't think that.
I'm not, I just wanna play a bit of a devil's advocate for you, because I don't disagree with you. But what, at a public meeting,
I'm talking about an open house first with display boards.
right?
And then a
question and
presentation,
answer,
and then a presentation,
a presentation.
and then. The question and answer, you will get the people that'll want to filibuster and stuff like
Right.
that, so you have to say, you got a question.
Okay,
And people might leave at that point, but at that point, you've had the open house, they've had the opportunity to wander around and look at the boards and ask one-on-one
Right.
questions. And then they've seen the presentation on what it is.
And hopefully have a schedule of the pop-up sessions that will come
Yeah.
after that. So that we can say, actually, there's gonna be a thing in your neighborhood on whatever day, or here's the list, if you wanna talk one-on-one with people.
Yeah.
That's your opportunity, rather than filibuster.
if you had a public meeting, which is a big event, I think it lends itself to that you don't need as many of the pop-ups as we, like, I think the nature of the pop-up is gonna be very different. Like, imagine going out and doing a pop-up on a day like today, and this is not.
We can't.
Atypical. Yeah, so I think that the nature of it might be a little bit different on what you wanna do.
Sure, the nature of what might be different.
A pop-up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if we're gonna get
So we've got the art tour.
stopping someone going into the ready. Like, all you're gonna do is to raise awareness again? Cause you're not gonna get engagement.
I think in my opinion, we should be doing the same amount of pop-ups, and what we're talking about, the community meeting sort of thing is like on top.
The community meetings to lay the framework for people coming out to the pop-ups if they've got more questions.
Yeah, I feel as though with the community, you're gonna have people who are really, really interested in the OCP and that.
Sure.
Whereas with the pop-ups, you're gonna, depending on where you are located, you're gonna be able to interact with people who wouldn't necessarily have sought out.
Right, so you're trying to, so it's almost like what we were trying to do with them before, so raise awareness. So is that the sort of the intent with the pop-ups, is just raising awareness as
Raising
opposed to getting
awareness
some
of the
real
survey,
feedback?
Are we trying to drive them to the survey?
Yeah, yes,
100%.
So
and
there's,
or the meeting,
there's the art tour. in May, the end of May. And there's the farmers markets that started by then. So having pop up where people are going to be at.
I think that we could probably circulate the list that we have phase one and say, what are additional things, what are things here that didn't really work well and cut those ones.
Circulate in this group.
Yeah.
And then on this, so I've done both of these things. I've done like the open house one where you have a few people on a stage, you do a presentation,
Yeah.
and then there's questions and answers.
Yeah.
I've also done gymnasiums where you have all of the boards out
That's
and
what
it's
I
a
think.
more informal, and people
Yeah.
take their, they read things.
Yeah,
They're two different types of things. I would suggest maybe we think about both.
well, I was thinking of doing the big open house and wander around, and then those that wanted more detail to stay for the presentation.
Yeah, no, I think we could do
So we
that.
could get it all in one day.
But like, we have this beautiful theater where we have like, how about a night with Andrew and the chair of the committee, the chairs of the committee?
So that would sort of come right at the beginning, right?
Yeah,
I think it should,
Yeah,
yeah,
I just kind of started like a really very rough kind of overview of.
like, you know, at like film festival and they have a director and they sit up on like, you have Daniel, you got
Panel.
Chris, you got the mayor, yeah. And then our two chairs and then whatever. And you, and there's a brief presentation, you explain the stuff and then you just ask, like you answer questions and whatever.
and you drive the details to the pop-ups.
Yeah.
So that we're not wasting the entire community group's time with
Yeah.
questions about
Wait, so
horses.
now drive the details to where?
To the pop-ups.
Pop-ups.
Yeah, the,
Because we did do a survey, which an engagement survey of the population. It's a few years ago since now, but people didn't, they liked open houses and the more informal.
Yeah.
But when you got to the question and answer section of a presentation.
Yep.
The people that stood up and filibustered and
Yep.
and whatever, they didn't like that.
instead driving to the survey is the other important part. Probably more important.
Yeah, so, but I think like a gymnasium one that's like 10 a.m., 2 p.m. You've got all the boards, we're all there.
Yep, I like that.
Uh,
And you start with a presentation.
Yeah.
Start with milling around, seeing the boards and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then there's a presentation.
then more
That's
milling.
like a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, that's right. And you publish that schedule so that if all I want is to come and hear the presentation, I know to come at 11:30,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah. Like I think that'd be like it's a must do.
Yeah.
It's like it's launching, starting off, launch the survey.
It also feels like it's Bowen Island style.
Yeah,
Well, and I think as individuals and as a group, we need to be prepared for whenever the final OCP is passed. Somebody coming up to you and saying, why wasn't that controlled? Because we're, as a community, we do that. And so a thing where actually we literally invited everybody.
Yeah.
Helps with that a lot.
Yeah.
I remember something years ago and somebody stood up in the audience and this is the first I've seen about this.
Yeah.
We done a mail drop to all about it. We had ads in the other cars.
Yeah.
We've done, and, oh, yeah.
I have been that guy too.
But the wandering around option's also good for families with kids.
Totally,
yeah. Quite often get left out of these.
Board schedules.
Yeah.
and that's why like a longer time period where people can come and go at their convenience.
Well, if we do it here, we could possibly have rec do a babysitting.
Yeah, this is a really good space for that. The living room is the open house.
Yeah.
There's a little
That's what I was
space
thinking,
area.
useful, yeah, because if it's just the theater, people will feel inhibited about arriving later, reading early.
Mhm.
That's what I liked about the gym, but I hadn't thought about the living room.
Well, I mean, you could have all of the boards throughout the whole open
Yeah.
space
Yeah.
there, and you could say, here, this part is at this time in the theater.
Yeah.
All the information will be available outside of that time.
There's a
Yeah, front
fun function for kids nursing lateness and shyness of the TV right outside the theater. The TV screen there, so you can have it, whatever's going on inside the theater is showing on the outside theater. People who are taking a phone call.
Sure, and stream it for that matter too, right? Like,
We can stream from the.
we cannot,
You can stream from Zoom.
the hell, why do we pay tax?
From
don't know how that happened. It shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
Don't just write that down. Yeah. Oh, we've had so many great ideas since you were gone. That must be really exciting.
And you agreed to do them all.
Maybe we should ask what vacation plans everybody got for the month of
Cancel.
May.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about like envisioning charrettes? Like that's a big group. So basically everybody's agreeing that the wandering open house in the living room bit and then the.
Charrettes at this point, they should have been done in the last
Yeah,
round.
exactly.
But it could be just our pop-up boards of different topics. And so long as one of us is there to sort of talk to people who have questions about them, I think it'd be informal.
And sticky notes to put questions.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
It's just a variation on pop-ups by putting them all in
and,
a common area.
and when the pop-up collateral material is not in use, having it
Out
here
there
in the
anyhow.
hallway or something
Yeah.
to capture the people
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
back and forth. Not with the person standing, but with the sticky notes or email or whatever.
So one of the things I was gonna say, and I know it sounded sort of, I was poo-pooing too many pop-ups, but it might drive what we're really trying to do at the pop-up. So the notion of trying to stop someone going into the ready and telling them about all the policies that, we're not gonna do that. The best you could do is go to the website.
Yeah.
Go look at the material online.
Yeah.
Do a survey.
Yeah.
And so then that might drive what collateral materials we actually need at a pop-up.
Yeah.
And then at an open house or at a public meeting, and it could be or a second event or a second kind of open house. If you want to do more than one of them where, you do it in the community center here and it's just open house style, you could do two of those and make them shorter and, drop in and see and come in and ask questions and engage so that you can have a dialogue with someone out of the rain.
So I think we need to get if I can get responses from the group for these questions, I'll send
Okay.
you all up by email. I feel as though with that, I can build this.
Right?
I can build this plan
Yeah.
and then from there, as I say, I'll bring it back to the next meeting and we can have a look and you can let us know sort of from an event activity standpoint, if I'm missing things or if you think we do a lot more or if you think about a lot less. And at that point, then we can start looking at the recycled collateral that we have left over from phase one or round one. And how I can work to manipulate that to suit what we need, what's based on that. And then also if there's stuff that I need to create from scratch that I can also do that as well.
So you got May the 8th is when the survey's been out?
It's a very vague
We
date.
just went off last.
Well, because I'm just looking here, it says, are there any community events happening in late May?
Yeah.
June and July, which makes me think the survey's not gonna be ready till late May.
Just throw out everything we know that's gonna be
Okay,
happening.
so but you haven't got Canada Day on there,
No,
they're
I don't.
getting in July. Let's do that.
Is there
What
a
do we
garden
have on the
sale too?
timeline for-
Yeah, there is.
Plant sale?
I'll fill
They
out
don't
the
have
like
It's
this
a
out.
midnight. Okay, sorry. Is this enough on, do you
I
have
think
enough?
for
that-
me, yeah,
okay.
like if I can get
'Cause we-
responses for all of this
Yeah.
and then I can go away and do some work and bring it back to the next meeting.
So what do you mean by constraint?
Staffing.
Time, I'm not sure we have 10
Right.
minutes for this, but there was this notion of, do we need a round two public engagement subcommittee?
No.
So, we thought we did. Do you wanna?
You want one?
Yeah.
Are you ready to roll?
I feel like I can, I feel like I can.
Sarah's going
I'll
solo.
come back next week. I'll come back at the next meeting. I feel like I can put together at least a reasonable plan and then if after the next meeting, it looks as though we do need to have, like either, maybe we just need a couple of workshops for 3 people or.
Subcommittee the last time.
No, we didn't, but it
But
just,
there were lots of gaps. There were things that were.
But I don't think we really we're learning because we went through it the last time and I think.
Yeah.
We have SharePoint this time.
Some of us. Why are you bringing it up?
You know why he's great.
I'm very happy to help out with
That would be wonderful.
developing content, providing, like whatever you need help with.
Yeah, I do think there will be varying degrees, and I mean, we had a lot of, I mean. If we have full meeting, it might be hard, so I think we leave that option open if we think a subcommittee or whatever. It's better.
Yeah, and maybe by the time I've gone through all of this question and put it together, I'm like, oh, I'm drowning. I don't think I will be.
Okay,
But, you know,
okay.
Yeah.
Let's leave it at that. Okay, we're gonna move on then to number 6 here, which is the draft OCP version 1 comment clarification question.
Just to interject for a second, step where somebody, you see that Glenn has emailed in comments about this.
I just saw that.
Yes, so given that you started talking, I'm gonna hand it over to you to take us through this.
Yeah, I was interested to see my name on that one.
Yeah.
Well, also Xerxes maybe been more activated, so it's that agenda.
Would you be okay taking
Or if you
us?
want to team up. I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah, that's fine, that's fine. So like I said earlier, McLean right now is working on version 2 of draft OCP, and they have had some comments and questions on, or comments and questions on version 1. I can just get started with some of the questions they had, for.
Do you want to share screen or would that work, that Excel? Or do you want to send it to me and I can?
Is this the one that you sent earlier?
And Excel's,
Oh, in the SharePoint?
the email?
McElhaney document relating to agenda item 6.1,
Yeah.
right?
I'm just looking for, do you want me to share it?
Sure.
Oh, sorry.
And Glenn's.
Yeah.
Comments make sense. Or explain what he did, so. Maybe you should just send those on to McElhaney.
Yeah.
Helpful.
Yeah, well, we did want to, well, it would be good for us to reflect on it as well, so. that
No,
we're-
I just meant Glenn's.
Yeah,
I think they should go to McElhaney as is and then our comments.
One of the things that we were certainly aware of was that it's very possible that comments in the SharePoint, we couldn't be getting LinkedIn comments from committee members, and therefore we needed to speak as one voice if there were if there was something there that
Okay. Well, I can start with just one of the questions McLean had, and raised in my email to the committee, which was comments around like special needs housing. McLean pointed out that this language comes from the Local Government Act as a catch-all for a large variety of housing, seniors, supportive housing, etc. Did the steering committee want a preferred term to use instead?
Purpose-built.
Purpose-built?
And then you just provide an example of like
I
senior
wish these were
housing.
numbered. Which one are we looking at?
1.4. I don't know where it is in that table.
Yeah, it's you rows down 1.4 affordable housing objective B special needs.
Sorry, you. Oh, yes.
I mean,
One.
I understand why, but that term special needs outside of housing
There it
has
is.
a different connotation
Yeah.
that isn't used anymore. My suggestion was purpose-built, and then you just add an example of what you mean by purpose-built. So seniors housing, like you provided seniors housing, supportive housing, like you just provide a couple of examples to communicate that we're talking about something, a specific type of housing.
Okay, but they want to use special needs? or
No,
we didn't like
they
it?
used special
Oh, we
needs,
didn't
and
like that.
I commented that like, that's a loaded term.
So even though
That
it's in the
hasn't-
local government act, it's stated and now it's loaded and.
Yeah, like I
Can
mean,
do better.
if you said
Okay.
special needs to 10 people on the street,
Mhm.
I imagine mostly all those people would associate that with like cognitive, you know, like the human side of that and not really like
Yeah.
how it's like, yeah.
Not purpose built.
Okay.
Right, so propose to, McLean, we use purpose-built how, instead of special needs, okay.
It's always thought
Sorry, can I
the
comment?
Hang on, Alex.
Go ahead, please.
Go, Alex.
Oh, sorry, I was just wanting to get on the speaker list.
You're on.
Go ahead.
Okay. I do want to understand that one a little bit better when it refers to special needs housing. Is that referring to it from a disability context or for housing built for a specific purpose more generally?
The latter.
The latter. Okay, then I would agree with purpose built. There was a community member who did bring up to me the need for a land use designation that was disability support and services. So that was, or sorry, disability rehabilitation and supports. I'll be forwarding their correspondence to the OCP steering committee, but I wasn't sure if this was relevant here, so I thought I'd bring that up. But thank you for clarifying. It was more general. I just wouldn't want to have seen it watered down if it was intended to be disability housing. So thank you.
Adam speaking, no, that's great. And like maybe that's one of the examples that we provide, like accessible housing.
Is that comment that you've had for the public relevant to now? Because this is input for them amending draft 1 to create draft 2. So,
Yes, the input was intended to be turned into for draft 1, but I don't know whether, should I send it to the committee as a whole? Should I be sending it to Daniel? I'm trying to figure out where to send this and not send it to the wrong place.
maybe as a whole.
Committee as a whole and Zipsy will be able to probably capture it for this,
Yeah.
there, and always the committee as a whole, that everybody has it.
I would have preferred that. I just didn't know if that was the right channel. So thank you for clarifying that.
Something else that the consultants flagged for clarification was something that we discussed in the previous workshops around section 1.1 sustainable agriculture and community farming. Was there ever a clear consensus on moving agriculture to community vitality or circular economy?
They suggested circular economy versus community vitality.
I remember this being a discussion in the last workshop. I don't remember if we ever had a consensus on.
Well, I thought we'd agreed on community vitality.
Yeah, I
Okay.
did too. Doesn't much matter, but.
I was going to say
we
circular
just have to
economy,
pick one.
community vitality, I don't think matters too much.
But while we're in the agriculture topic, there was also a flag on the word right to farm.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That
Right,
floated
that was a-
in there,
yeah.
and I looked it up and I thought, yeah, maybe not. Because
In the
it's
existing
pretty
OCP?
broad, like dropping airplane loads of
Yeah, manure.
herbicide on us and things like that, so maybe we should just leave it up.
I thought so too.
Did you?
Well, yeah, I mean, agriculture is.
I don't know where it came
Many
from.
times.
So-
I just, my note on that said,
According to this note.
So direction from steering committee is just delete the section on right to farm
well, the
Well,
note,
or
there, I thought we could follow Island's Trust policy statement on it, maybe. Would be an alternative.
Good idea.
The Allen's Trust policy statement is not gonna be approved before the end of the term.
I know,
according
but
to-
it's still useful wording, but it gives us a clue
Well, we
where
don't
they're
know whether
going.
it's gonna be wording they're gonna use, that's.
my note just says from that Daniel said the right to farm with specific legislation, for example, noise bylaws don't apply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can.
I don't know, man. Like I don't know if it's like a critical. I mean, like we say a whole bunch of things about farming. Do we need to reference provincial legislation? Like, I don't think farming is like a huge part of this community, like. No.
Inadvertently gets set up.
I feel like we live in our community vitality bill. Finally, it was.
Does the
gonna be
right
awkward.
to farm under the legislation apply only on ALR lands
It's a great question.
or at land zoned agriculture?
My understanding is all land zone agriculture. It's not just ALR land. It's
So if we allow domestic agriculture on rural designations, then the right to farm is there, and therefore the neighbor can't complain about the noise the chicken with the goats are making.
right.
Quick clarifying question. I believe we had this, like, is it an objective? Maybe it's more, maybe we keep it and it just becomes a policy.
Right. Yeah, I think this is an objective, so
Like, it seems too specific to be an objective. Like, maybe that specific reference to legislation is more appropriate as a policy. And the objective
It's
is,
an objective, it's support domestic agriculture on any property is what we ended up with. And then D was support and protect the right to farm in quotation. And then minimize the risk that chemical fertilizers, pesticides pose to the natural environment was the other one.
It's domestic agriculture defined somehow. Agriculture, I should say, domestic agriculture.
It is defined in the land use bylaw.
No, because like, you know, if you, for instance, drive to the ALR lands, right? Like to the ferries, though, it's just all industrial. It's just like, you know, mushroom farms and huge areas of greenhouses. And, you know, it's not pretty. I don't think that most people don't have that image of farming.
Domestic agriculture, if I recall correctly, in the land use bylaw is agriculture for your own use and maybe a farm stand. That's it.
Yeah, I read that too, but that was if that applied to the right to farm.
Oh, got it.
I know, I just saw that. I'm not sure we're gonna, do we have a direction on this one? I don't know.
I just have follow the unjust policy statement and perhaps change the policy as like direction from
Well,
the.
if it's provincial legislation, do we need
It
to
applies
say?
to it. Yeah, no, that would be the thing. If the legislation applies, it applies. And to whatever it applies to.
Yeah.
So, no, what I mean is that I don't want to inadvertently,
You can be silent about it. Yeah.
you can be silent about it without
Yeah.
misinterpreting the intent.
well, I mean, my suggestion is that we have a policy, maybe it's already in there. The intent of this is to support farming without having negative impacts on your neighbors. So maybe there's just a policy that just says support domestic agriculture without their, or like minimizing impact, like however you want to phrase it, but like.
In those.
Yeah, it's in the Islands Trust policy document. I think we just take the.
Yeah, just check that out, because like, it seems weird to have as an objective to me.
So policy, not an objective.
It doesn't need to be an objective, it's too specific, it's provincial legislation that applies with or without us including an objective.
Yeah. I agree. I think we could go down a rabbit hole, but not worth it.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay.
Okay, something else, I just want to clear from this steering committee was something we discussed at the last workshop was part 3, section 1.5, and the different options regarding circular economy. Whether economic development plan it better reflects a circular economy. And my notes were that the steering committee went for option 2 to provide guidance without a formal plan.
That's what the subcommittee did suggest. Whether or not this committee agrees with that, will, I mean, you can take a different view. So,
Or I think in Kirsten's absence, she would, if you agree, I think that she would like something articulated in this plan, she does not like it.
that's correct. Didn't think, doesn't mean to say that you wouldn't ever have one, but, the subcommittee's view was it's not absolutely necessary. You can have it as as much support through the policies of this plan.
But we do have an economic development.
I know, so that's why I was like.
Yeah.
I did. Kirsten felt pretty strongly about it, that.
Well, no, it wasn't.
Which one are you looking at, Xerxes? Sorry.
Part one. Page,
Uh,
the first 1.5, scroll up.
33, line 33. Is
Up above.
Sorry.
No, no, scroll up.
that it? Or am I?
No.
Yeah, probably.
Scroll up.
So you wanna go down,
Oh,
like,
scroll down, sorry. I'm sorry.
Can we look at this?
Very
I wanna see up
It's
above, there, it's that one
Section
right there.
33, yeah.
okay,
32.
Yeah,
please review feedback.
oh, these do have numbers.
They did an option to provide guidance, telephone, shadow assistance, or common guidance, like that. Oh,
Are we okay with option two?
Provide guidance without.
well, that's it.
You could.
It feels to me like staff direction. I don't know what staff member would be able to achieve that.
Is there an option 3?
There is. The option 3 was do not make a plan, encourage and support initiatives that strengthen local economy, foster
Yeah.
resilience.
So you don't have, do not make a plan. The wording that would go in would be encourage and support initiatives that strengthen the local economy. I kind of like that one.
That's fine.
Yeah, I like 3 weeks.
And just to clarify, that was Kirsten's preference too?
Yeah, in the subcommittee, we reviewed it then.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Option 3.
So option 2.
Xerxes.
So 2,
3.
3.
So you try to,
Option 3, okay.
Option 3, I'm writing it down.
This is going great, Xerxes.
So what about all these other things?
Yeah, I was also wanting to go to the next one, where we just discussed at the last workshop, which was on forest economies.
So line 33, this one?
Yeah, 33 and 34, I think both touch on. It noted that the steering committee was considering like possibly just deleting the whole section on forest economies, in which case does the consultants need to spend time on policies and objectives if the
no.
No.
yeah.
You guys remember that?
Yeah, so if
Yeah.
we're editing a section and forgetting that they're gonna be removed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we agree to remove it.
Okay. Okay, well, actually, again, like, and I also have like, the community, section 1.3, policy 33 on, boat launches in Tunstall Bay and.
What happened to policy 20 on underneath the?
I think we're just going by the email that he wrote for highlighting. Maybe he wants to get through those first and then.
Oh,
We
okay,
don't notice the
okay,
difference.
okay, got ya. Now I understand why we're going through, but we haven't done all.
So Xerxes, can you repeat that?
Section 1.3, policy 33, continue to advocate for the development of publicly owned boat launches at Tunstall Bay and Snug Cove and Deep Bay.
You mean 13?
You're at 1.6?
So,
1.3.
I think it's,
You do like control line for Tunstall, but control it. Sounds called this demonstrated for graph.
no, this is one of the boat launches. Right there.
That's
There you
right,
go.
there it is.
Okay, continue that.
Yeah, consultants doing like different unclear comments on from many members on what exactly.
I can't find it.
It's line
Line
15.
I don't have 6.
It's row here.
Print.
Um,
1.3.
Are we on the boat launch?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
think it was in the old OCP. It's really about the question of whether you still want to keep the Tunstall boat launch
is
on
that
the
something that
agenda.
the public engagement would reveal that if we left it in
Yeah.
from the old OCPSC
Okay.
and then
It's great.
find out.
Public
Yeah, because the
engagement.
steering committee members are obviously disagreeing on it.
Yeah, leave it
See what the
from.
public wants.
Yeah, it's in the existing one.
Yeah.
It got there somehow.
Yeah, and we didn't hear anything in that round 1 of engagement that would
No, not
That's
to
it. Okay, so
about it.
you're clear on that? then?
Yeah, it's in Republican.
I mean, nothing's happened in the municipality around boat launches
Oh, there we go.
generically, has there? I would-
Hmm. What's engaged? Yeah.
Lord knows we need another expensive piece of public infrastructure.
But the boat launch on the other side of the island is kind of a big deal. It's emergency evacuation. It's not, the goal isn't recreational boaters. The goal is if something really bad happens and everybody has to get off, we've got the locked one in the cove and nothing else.
And Seymour Bay. They
There's a
can bring
boat
it.
launch?
Is a boat launch in Seymour Bay?
Well, no, but I guess if we're gonna be taken off, it's gonna be the hovercraft. But that can land anywhere.
Okay, yeah,
So just
Yeah,
going back.
those are the-
We're leaving it in public engagement. We want to highlight that. Do you want to know that for public engagement then?
Yeah, those are the main clarification points I highlighted. If steering committee had any other.
I have one I want to. It's right after 1.5 overall. Can you scroll it up a bit more? Yeah,
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
yeah, oh,
With
there
that,
you go.
It's up, so that,
right place, the very first one.
this one, resilient circular economy?
No,
No.
no, about language. It was right below the one we were just looking at. Affordable housing and multiple comments on policy writing stuff.
Yeah.
And that was me. And it was my objection to the pervasive use of passive language throughout the whole document. And they responded to the words themselves, whether we use directive or advisory language. And that wasn't the point, but seeing as they brought it up, I think the places where we should at least consider directive language would be where it's directive in the press policy statement. So I didn't have an issue with whatever they call it, advisory or the soft language. What I had an objection to is that passive language generally takes twice as long to say what you mean, and it creates ambiguity. And I think it makes the whole document really hard to read. So I kept saying use active voice, and they didn't get it. So I pulled out an example. So they said on areas designated NR, which is park, I think, natural reserve, nature reserve. Land should not be subdivided into parcels smaller than existing parcels, but they may be consolidated into a larger parcel. And that's 22 words. And the way I wrote it was, NR lands are generally not subdividable, but may be consolidated, which is 10 words.
Yeah.
And when you multiply that through a whole document, it becomes really cumbersome and really long. So I would like to get that message to them. I'm happy to write it and send it to you.
Or send that example?
Yeah.
Can I
That's a
send
good
that
example.
example?
Yeah.
Why-
Yeah.
Okay. Is that it? One more? Yes.
Well, I'm just looking at this thing, like, section 1.5, it's in white. Protect wildlife habitat, ecology, connecting, et cetera, and then the comment recommending adding specific mention of crown lands. And then they say, how do we add a policy if the circular economy subcommittee wants to remove this section? Ignore
Oh, I
the
think
circular
that's-
economy.
It's referring to the force.
It's policy 20. Semicolon 20, protect wildlife habitat, ecological connectivity in areas of botanical, geological, archaeology, and cultural significance, including unique tree species, heritage and culturally significant trees. And we wanted them to add crown land on there, to be specific, say including on crown land.
Unique.
And so then the comment, which
There you go.
I'm assuming these are McNamee comments, are they?
Before.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've said, how do we add policy if the circular economy wants to remove this section.
And just to another.
But
That's
that's,
that in circular economy.
No, that,
I think that refers to the forest economy section.
it's in the forest economy section, but we definitely want that,
So it's in the
that
one section.
policy to say that it, protecting all that stuff and on crown land, because that's what everybody was protesting about timber licenses and stuff.
So
So you're gonna move that section to, or that policy, protect ... cultural significant trees, move that over to the environment section?
Yeah.
Out of the
Yeah.
circular economy section?
Okay,
Yeah.
But
Easy
it's
peasy.
clear on that.
yeah, most of the,
Yeah, unless there's a, yeah,
That's fine.
and add the words crown land.
You good?
yeah,
okay,
And then did Inter-Island get sorted out? But what about the,
I'm going to, running over time. If there's some that you want to specifically bring to attention.
well, I'm just not sure how these have all been answered. Because McElhaney's got 2 pages of questions.
So you can reply by email.
So, and
Just
all
highlight
these
some.
say addressed yes or no, so have Xerxes and Daniel addressed all of these, or how do we answer all these questions that McElhaney's asking?
You can answer them by
Yeah.
email, but we just want, Gypsy was highlighting the ones
Like
that
that.
were really good to discuss and have relevant here, and the rest can be answered by email.
Is that what I supposed to do?
no, I mean, if there's any in particular that you want to clarify.
Well,
Okay.
And McElhaney does want answers.
Yeah.
We just couldn't spend the entire afternoon doing that, so Xerxes highlighted a few.
The intra-island one, I think is pretty straightforward.
Well, what does Inter-Island mean? Inter-Island to me means this island to another island.
No, the recommendation was just to change it like on island.
On island, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
What's Inter-Island?
Is there really clear if they've got some other additional ones to send them? Or comment back to Xerxes? So we are.
Again, do we want to set a deadline?
Oh,
For that,
Did you say when you?
so McElhaney is hoping to get, send us a version 2 draft by end of March, so let's say Monday.
And Sarah, when you send out these questions to us, can you give us a deadline too?
Yeah.
When's the next meeting?
April 7th is the workshop, when we need that. There will have been a draft hopefully for a week, existing before then, so. We send the questions.
To me, I'm going to send you an email and then you can just reply into the email and type the response.
Can you do
Into my inbox. Now that I'm locked out till then.
I think I'm locking myself out too.
Because this is the day of the release.
Okay, on that note, let's do, go back to my agenda. We have no information items. We have no questions.
No questions, but just that review of action items, so we're just clear on that. Is there a reply all regarding McElhaney questions? Sarah's gonna send communications questions, please answer those. That's all.
Okay.
I've already done my action. I asked McElhaney to send the Gibson's survey.
And our next meeting is Tuesday, April 7th. And it's a workshop. Okay.
Tuesday, April 7th here or Zoom? Here.
Workshops are good in. You wanna
Agreed. Just wanted to make sure.
touch things.
Can you ask McElhaney for other surveys other than just Gibson's? Like, I'm sure they've done like a bunch recently.
This, I mentioned is doubtful.
Yeah, just anybody like. But to clarify, like for phase 2 surveys.
Oh, I'm sorry.
For examples would be good.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Just in terms of helping out a lot of those questions.
Okay. So,
Beautiful.
meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, perfect.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Alex.